You know, that comforting feeling when you just slide into your car, you turn the key, and your favorite local radio station just automatically starts playing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It feels completely effortless, right? Like this old school, reliable friend just sitting there in the dashboard waiting for you to start your commute.
Right. I mean, it is entirely effortless for the listener. But behind that smooth interface, your old, reliable friend is currently fighting this massive, high-stakes turf war.
Right there inside the car.
Exactly, right there inside your car's digital dashboard. And honestly, the winner of that war gets to dictate what you hear, what you know, and, well, ultimately how you understand the world around you.
Which is wild to think about.
Yeah.
And that unseen high-stakes dashboard war is our focus today. So welcome to the deep dive. We are taking you into a space where this exact battle is being fought.
Yeah, it's a fascinating space.
So picture this. It is February 12, 2026. We are walking into the Residence Palace in Brussels. It's this striking historic building, and today it is absolutely buzzing. We're here for the AI and Radio Europe policy briefing.
Right, which was organized by the Main Initiative to mark UNESCO's World Radio Day.
Exactly.
And the Main Initiative brought together just a truly unique cross-section of Europe for this. I mean, you have European institutions, telecom regulators, traditional broadcasters, and, cutting-edge tech innovators all converging in one room.
Yeah, they aren't just there to grab coffee and network. They are actively trying to solve a puzzle.
Right.
And our mission today is to decode the pieces of that puzzle for you, because the central question they tackled impacts literally anyone who consumes media today.
Yeah, the core mission of the day was basically this: how do we secure radio's visibility, its accessibility, and its resilience in an environment that is just completely driven by AI and connected devices?
So to answer that, the event deliberately started by kind of pumping the brakes.
Which I think was a smart move.
Right. Before anyone got to demo the shiny new AI tools, the organizers grounded the entire conversation in what we're actually trying to protect.
Yeah, Ludovico Folencalabi delivered the opening framing on behalf of UNESCO, and he set a really high bar.
He really did.
He argued that AI is not just some workflow tool or, a technical upgrade for broadcasters. It is a fundamental stress test of radio's core values and its public service mission.
Which perfectly set the stage for a testimony that, honestly, it sent a chill through the room.
Yeah, that was intense.
It came from Martina Imkovičová, a senior editor and producer at Radio Slovakia International. Her session was titled, "No Trust Without Free Radio."
Right, and she didn't talk about algorithms at all.
No, she talked about human fear. She described this creeping numbness that's currently spreading through newsrooms that are facing severe budget cuts alongside really intense political pressure.
It was a very stark picture.
Yeah, she painted this picture of colleagues who are suddenly afraid to comment on stories, this lingering feeling of uncertainty, and a very deliberate structural dismantling of independent governance.
And, it forces us to look at the human element of media infrastructure. Because when journalists are operating under that kind of structural intimidation, the technology they use just becomes completely irrelevant.
Exactly.
The official event outcome document actually synthesized these opening moments into a really clear directive. They stated, the protection of media freedom is a prerequisite for digital transformation.
Okay, let me push back on that sequence, though, just a little bit.
Sure.
Because I can hear someone arguing that focusing on traditional analog radio independence feels, I don't know, a bit nostalgic.
I get that.
I mean, when we have global algorithms practically running the entire global information ecosystem, shouldn't we be focusing entirely on regulating the tech first?
Well, the counter-argument presented in Brussels is that the sequence matters, absolutely. Because if you focus only on the tech, you are ignoring the bedrock. If you don't have human independence at the base, deploying AI into that newsroom doesn't create better journalism. It just scales up the existing noise, or worse, it automates the censorship.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's like building a state-of-the-art smart house on a foundation that's just full of termites.
That is a great way to look at it.
I mean, it doesn't matter how incredible the voice-activated lights are if the floor is literally caving in.
That analogy holds up perfectly in this context. Innovation without foundational freedom is just hollow.
Right.
And because true journalistic freedom requires hard economic sustainability to actually survive, the program moved straight into the brutal economic realities of this whole digital shift.
Right. Jean-Paul Philippot, the general administrator at RTBF, took the stage to outline the threat. And the visual of him up there was fantastic.
Yeah, he stood on stage holding this cheap battery-powered analog radio.
It's just a simple plastic box.
Exactly, and he held it up as the most resilient, eco-friendly device ever made.
Which is true. He pointed out that it requires no personal data collection, there's no monthly subscription, and no external power grid or internet connection needed to function.
And he used that humble little box to contrast the massive wealth extraction happening right now through Californian digital platforms.
Right.
He was laying out a very specific economic reality for European media. From his viewpoint, local broadcasters spend millions investing in human capital to create trustworthy, verified content.
Right. Actual journalism.
But the digital advertising revenue attached to that content is increasingly captured by non-European tech platforms acting as middlemen.
Basically siphoning it off.
Yeah, platforms that, from his perspective, aren't bound by European laws, they don't protect local user data, and they don't have a vested interest in European democratic stability.
And he also dropped a statistic about AI that literally made me stop taking notes and just stare at the stage.
I know exactly the one you mean.
He cited a survey indicating that 97% of listeners cannot tell the difference between a song created by AI and one produced by a real human artist. 97%.
It's staggering. And when you apply that failure rate to news broadcasting, you see the existential threat. It goes straight to the value of the true.
Exactly.
AI is undeniably a fantastic cost-cutting tool. I mean, it can optimize a workflow or translate a broadcast in seconds.
Sure.
But if an audience can no longer distinguish between a synthetic audio clip and reality, the trust that a local radio station has spent a century building can evaporate overnight.
Wait, let's look at the financial side of those cost-cutting tools for a second.
Okay.
If AI is drastically reducing the cost to produce content, shouldn't these local broadcasters be thrilled?
You would think so, yeah.
Because cheaper production usually means a healthier bottom line.
Yeah.
Doesn't that solve the economic crisis Philippot was talking about?
Well, what's fascinating here is that assumes the audience can actually reach the cheaper content.
Oh, I see.
Workflow optimization doesn't solve a broken revenue model if a global tech gatekeeper controls the entire distribution pipeline.
Right, like the voice assistant in your living room or the touchscreen in your car.
Exactly. If the gatekeeper owns that screen, they decide what plays when you say, hey, play the news. They siphon off the data and the advertising revenue.
Wow, okay.
So lowering your production costs doesn't save your station if the gatekeeper charges a massive toll just to let your listeners find you.
Which brings us to the absolute core of the battlefield. We've established that the gatekeepers are the main threat to radio's survival. So where physically is the gate?
The briefing pinpointed the answer very clearly: the connected car.
Right.
This led right into a major policy focus on the Digital Networks Act, or the DNA, presented by Peter Stuckman from the European Commission.
Yeah, the DNA is a legislative push looking at how to rethink digital infrastructure.
Right.
And ensure fair contribution from those who profit most from the networks.
Correct. And that presentation flowed straight into a high-level institutional roundtable.
And this roundtable was heavy-hitting. You had the European Broadcasting Union, the Association of European Radios, EGELA, and the European Media Board.
All the major players.
Yeah, and they highlighted a trend that changes the whole game. Some vehicles, like certain Tesla models and various microelectric cars, are already rolling off the assembly line and entering the European market without broadcast radio receivers installed at all.
Just completely gone.
Yeah.
Which forces us to recognize what the dashboard has actually become. The connected car cockpit is no longer just an automotive feature displaying your speed and your fuel.
Right.
It has evolved into a highly sophisticated media interface, a massive data harvesting environment, and a commercial gateway.
Think of it like this. Radio is essentially a public library. It's free to enter, it's full of verified information, and it's built for the public good.
I like this.
But a private tech company just bought the only road leading to the library, and they are actively hiding all the road signs. You can't find the library unless you know exactly how to navigate their proprietary map.
That is exactly what's happening. And that is why organizations are mobilizing to keep those roads open. You have groups like World DAB deeply involved in this fight.
Right, championing digital broadcast radio.
Specifically DAB+. For anyone unfamiliar, DAB+ is digital terrestrial radio. It doesn't rely on cellular data or an internet connection. It broadcasts freely through the airwaves.
It's just there.
Yeah, World DAB argues it is a resilient, free-to-air lifeline that entirely bypasses those digital tech toll booths we were just talking about.
But drivers also want the shiny new features, right? Like they want album art and interactivity on that big screen.
They do, which is why innovators like Xperi are crucial to this ecosystem. Xperi illustrates how hybrid in-car audio can work. They build systems that beautifully blend traditional broadcast reliability, like that DAB+ signal, with a modern internet-connected dashboard experience.
So it proves that we don't have to choose between a slick interface and free-to-air reliability. We can actually have both.
Exactly. To summarize this entire regulatory battle over the dashboard, the official outcomes document from the event included a quote that really anchors the whole debate. They stated, infrastructure choices are not neutral. They shape democratic access to information.
Wow.
Yeah, that is the foundation of the DNA discussions and the prominence debate. The infrastructure we accept today dictates the freedom we have tomorrow.
So having established this high-stakes regulatory battle over the dashboard in the main hall, the event shifted gears.
It did.
They wanted to show how the industry is practically innovating to win that space back. So let's take you on a walk with us. Imagine stepping out of that heavy, intense policy discussion in the main conference hall and walking into the OFF program.
Oh, the energy in the OFF program is always such a stark contrast to the main stage. It moves from theoretical policy to practical application.
You feel it immediately.
Yeah.
So you're walking into the demo and media zones. There's this low hum of networking over coffee in every corner, demo tables lined up, professional photographers weaving through the crowd, snapping live shots.
It's a vibrant, breathing European media ecosystem at work.
Yeah, and over to our left, we see RCS demonstrating their long-standing radio technology. They're showing off automation workflows that basically ensure a station stays on the air seamlessly.
Right, which frees up human producers to actually do journalism instead of just pushing buttons.
Exactly. And right nearby, you have Hindenburg showcasing their professional audio production tools. They're demonstrating how intuitive software can empower journalists to craft deeper, richer storytelling without getting bogged down in technical audio engineering.
It's all about amplifying the human element.
Yeah. And as we walk further, we pass several live podcast recordings happening right there on the floor.
Oh, yeah. The Future Media Hub's crew was recording an episode of their AI in the Media World podcast.
Yep. And we pass the Radio Tour Brussels and Pro podcast setup and catch the old media barons deep in debate.
Everywhere you look?
Everywhere. There are European institutional and media partners driving the conversation. Groups like RedTech, Radio.B, South 180, and Broadcast-associés are all actively shaping the space.
And we can't forget looking up at the screens in the room.
Oh, right. Linagora and their Linto platform, they were providing incredibly impressive live AI-driven automatic transcriptions of the event as it happens.
And watching that live AI transcription taking place above a room full of broadcasters really bridges the gap.
It makes it real.
Yeah, it takes AI out of the realm of abstract threat and shows it as a tangible, supportive utility.
Which provided a perfect transition as the crowd moved back to the main stage for the innovation spotlight.
This was where the ideas got really bold.
Very bold. Jérôme Donchot from Magellan X took the stage and pointed out something so obvious, yet totally overlooked. He said the car radio button hasn't fundamentally changed since 1932.
It's crazy to think about.
It is. It is still the exact same passive experience. You push a button and you take whatever is given to you. He actually called for a European revolt to completely reinvent the cockpit experience.
A revolt that embraces AI to serve the listener better. And Marijn Goossens from Future Media Hubs showed exactly what that could look like in practice.
This was arguably the most fascinating tech showcase of the day.
I agree.
He shared a case study from a BBC R&D experiment. They used AI to sequence highly personalized commutes for drivers. So the AI essentially reads the room, or reads the car, I guess.
Right.
It knows the time of day, the length of the journey, and your typical habits. It provides hard news in the morning when you're alert and need to know what's happening in the world.
Makes sense.
And then it seamlessly transitions to chill music or a lighter podcast on your drive home when you're tired.
It's brilliant.
The AI isn't writing the news. It's acting as an incredibly intuitive, hyper-personalized DJ.
And the distinction there is vital. The AI is managing the flow, not creating the facts.
Right.
It directly answers the anxiety we heard from journalists earlier in the day. Goosen summarized the philosophy beautifully, and this is his exact quote. AI in media is not about replacing journalists. It's about strengthening workflows while preserving trust and editorial responsibility.
I love the idea of a personalized AI-driven commute. It sounds incredibly convenient.
It does.
But we have to look at the flip side of that convenience. If an algorithm knows exactly when I'm tired and it has the power to pipe custom audio directly into my ear, doesn't that make the car a prime target for manipulation?
Yes, it creates a massive vulnerability. And that realization brought the room to one of the most sobering presentations of the day.
Yeah.
Dr. Philip Grzegorczewski from the European External Action Service, the ES, took the stage. He was there to talk about FIMI.
Right, FIMI.
That stands for Foreign Information Manipulation and Interference.
Let's break that down for you listening. How does FIMI differ from the standard run-of-the-mill fake news we see on social media every day?
Well, fake news is often just isolated lies or clickbait, you know? FIMI is the coordinated, intentional weaponization of an entire information ecosystem.
Wow.
It is designed specifically by state actors to undermine democratic processes and fracture social cohesion. And looking at this strictly through the ES's security lens, the threat is highly organized.
Yeah, from their perspective, they detailed how state actors, specifically pointing to Russia and China, are actively using radio networks and diaspora-focused programming to micro-target citizens.
Right. They outline instances of Russia using radio broadcasts to target military families with demobilization messaging.
And China partnering with local European stations to subtly normalize state narratives under the guise of regular programming. And again, we're sharing this strictly as the security perspective presented by the EAS at the event.
Exactly. Now, combine that geopolitical strategy with the connected car dashboard we were just talking about.
Oh, man.
If an algorithm in your dashboard is curating what you hear based on harvested data about your location, your language, and your habits, it opens a backdoor for micro-targeted influence operations.
But surely it would be easier for these actors to just buy Facebook ads or use bots on social media. I mean, why put all this effort into infiltrating radio for geopolitical interference?
They target radio specifically because of its unique position in society. It is the most trusted medium.
That makes sense.
It has deep local anchoring. People trust the voice of their local broadcaster. But even more critically, it possesses crisis resilience.
Right.
During the event, Karim Ayburki from the CSA brought up a harrowing real-world example to illustrate this, the 2016 Brussels terrorist attacks.
I remember that clearly.
When those bombs went off in the city, panic ensued. The cell networks became instantly overloaded and went down.
People trying to call their families.
Exactly. The internet slowed to an absolute crawl. Even some official encrypted police networks struggled under the strain.
And what was left functioning?
Broadcast radio. It was the last medium standing. When fiber optics are cut, when cell towers are jammed or lose power, traditional broadcast radio still pushes a signal through the air to battery-powered receivers and car antennas.
Wow.
Therefore, the EES's argument is that protecting free-to-air radio access in the dashboard isn't just about preserving culture or, saving commercial ad revenue.
It's way bigger than that.
It is a matter of hard European security. It is maintaining a defensive infrastructure.
That entirely reframes the conversation for me. I mean, we aren't just talking about saving a legacy media format from being out-innovated by Silicon Valley.
I don't know that at all.
We're talking about protecting the public emergency broadcast system from being buried under a touchscreen menu.
Which is why the closing reflections of the day were so resonant. David Fernandez from South 180 took on the task of synthesizing everything we've just unpacked.
And he did a great job.
He really did. He brought the overarching theme into sharp focus. Radio is not a nostalgic legacy medium waiting patiently to be replaced by a Spotify playlist.
Right.
It is human connection, it is emotion, it is focused attention, and above all, it is a vital democratic shield.
If you take only one thing away from this deep dive into the dashboard war, let it be this shared conviction from the event's official outcomes. They declared trusted media must remain visible in digital environments.
It's no longer just a regulatory suggestion. It's an operational imperative for a functioning democracy. And, this conversation is far from over.
It is genuinely just getting started. If you want to follow this debate as it unfolds, the dialogue is continuing very soon. The industry will be picking this up at Radiodays Europe in Riga.
That's coming up soon.
Yeah, happening from March 22nd to the 24th. And if you are working in this space and want to get directly involved in shaping these policies, the organizers explicitly encouraged reaching out to Nicholas Millard at the main initiative.
It's a critical time to be part of that conversation, whether you are a broadcaster, a regulator, or just someone who listens to the news on their way to work.
Absolutely.
Because the outcome of this turf war affects all of us. I'll leave you with this final thought to mull over. The next time you sit in your car, turn the key in the ignition, and hear a helpful, automated voice recommending a specific podcast or a tailored news update, ask yourself who actually wrote the algorithm that chose that specific voice for you, and what kind of world are they trying to build?
That is a question we should all be asking before we put the car in drive. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.